viewers, and welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring Dawn of War 2 The Elite Mod. Red-Rupee here calling the shots for tonight as always as we go into this one-on-one match, this time on Ashes of Typhon, featuring the illustrious Hobbes as the Chaos Sorcerer playing Chaos Space Marines for the blue team, and his opponent, Mr. Big Mathis, playing Tyranids as the appropriately Big Hive Tyrant for the red side. So if you missed last week's monthly Rumble tournament, number 14 it was, the coverage of that I have uploaded onto the channel, so if you missed out, don't worry, it's all there for you. All the games I covered, myself and Maestro Cortella covering the majority of that tournament, all the way up to the finals where Tex faced off against Holy Hammer. So check that stuff out, plenty of new videos for you guys to watch this week. I actually took the early part of the week off because I was coming down with a cold during the monthly Rumble tournament, and talking for 6 hours straight while you have a sore throat does nothing but further exasperate your throat. So I took the most of this week off, but now we're ready to get back into it. Speaking of the monthly Rumble tournament, we had Big Mathis featured in that tournament, and he actually won my award, got himself a copy of Planetary Annihilation for having the most fun play that I decided, and that was Triple Sluggas. He was playing against Z-Torque, I believe, and man, he had a truck rolling around with 3 squads of fully upgraded Sluggas. There's nothing more satisfying than seeing about 20 orcs pile out of a truck and get into some trouble. But anyways, let's get to this game. Mathis actually sent me this game in response to that. He said, if you like Triple Sluggas, as you can see, you might like Triple Horma. So Triple Horma against the Chaos Sorcerer. Chaos Sorcerer, I think, is actually pretty solid against melee builds. He's got a lot of options with Heretics, Doom Bolts, Suppression, all that kind of crazy stuff. He can really maneuver around melee squads pretty easily, especially if he gets things like Chains of Torment later in the game. That being said, he's not particularly effective against these kind of big, tankier heroes, I don't feel. Early game Chaos doesn't have a lot of focus fire options. Things like Heretics really don't want to engage in melee with the Hive Tyrant because one special attack or two, and that could be it for the squad pretty easily. But anyways, we've got Havoc's coming onto the field. That's what would be expected. I'm not sure if he knows there's 3 squads of Hormagaunts on the field, but he's seen at least 2 and no Termagants, so he has to have some idea of what might be coming. Ormon's just hanging out right in his face right now, just trying to control the armies in the base right now, just keeping everything right there, stalling them out while the Hormagaunts take the whole map. Even if these couple squads don't lose any models for those Spore Mines, they've still been sitting around base instead of moving out onto the map. Sorcerer managed to push off the Hive Tyrant, who had taken some fire in an early engagement, and I guess once it comes down to that one-on-one fight, you don't want to have an injured hero battling a healthy one, even if it is one of the tankier spots there. Ravener's coming out here now as well, so the obvious response to Triple Hormagaunts is going to be some sort of suppression team from Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines, or just about anyone for that matter. So Raveners are the obvious follow-up on a Triple Hormagaunt build. Warriors we've seen a lot less of in recent times. Good work with that Havoc team, managing to get both of those squads suppressed nice and quickly, push them off the field, and he's going to start getting back into this, or at least getting into this at all. He's already lost about 50 VPs just in that initial engagement. You can see Hobbes already has himself up a full gen farm as well. Or sorry, Big Mathis has a full gen farm as opposed to Hobbes, which is empty. And so far, Mathis is going to go into a commanding spot in this early stage of the game. Devour is already on those Raveners, so he's going to have a decent ranged option. And the Raveners are just such a great multi-purpose unit. They can interrupt, they can burrow strike, they've got decent melee. Like, they don't want to take these Heretics head on, but they could give them a run for their monies if they needed to, especially if they get a special attack off or two. But they are reasonably frail. But yeah, look at that first volley, especially if they get a volley off on approaching Heretics. It's probably not a problem. The only thing is you don't want to lose Ravener models because they are fairly expensive to reinforce. Sorcerer now doing a little furtive motion there with the double Heretic worship, that Siege worship, keeping everything under wraps. Aspiring Champion coming down on those Heretics, but it might be a bit too late. Those Raveners are starting to tear through them. There it comes. The second Doom Blast comes down, but it's a bit too little too late as the squad of Hormagaunts start moving in. Noise Marines now on the field, another great option against melee. even though they won't be able to take the melee head on, the combination of that cacophony will allow either the Havocs to set up or the Chaos Space Marines to shoot down whatever squad of Hormagaunts is getting knocked about. Hive Tyrant already getting some pretty decent upgrades. He has his Warp Field Shield and also the Rending Talons, which give him that nice seismic roar ability, which knocks back everything around him and I think puts a small damage over time effect on the ground all around him. Hormagaunts now moving in on those Noise Marines that are trying to get a nice Gen Bash there. Looks like they managed to get a generator and the node. Still a triple cap against Hobbes though, even though he's managing to put some pressure on the Tyranid forces. He's finding himself just outnumbered with all the Hormagaunts swarming all over the field. They're not quite going to get those Noise Marines thanks to that Havoc. If that Havoc had not been there, those seemingly dead Noise Marines would certainly be out of it. Let's see. Oh, I may have spoken too soon because they might be out of it anyways. No, a perfectly timed Doom Blast, leaving those Noise Marines at a mere 2 HP, retreating back in the nick of time. And that's the thing with this kind of melee against Chaos, is that those Doom Blasts are just going to trump you in the early game. Late game, they're going to get outmoded pretty easily, but in this Tier 1 stage, without a lot of extra support on the field, those Doom Blast Heretics, along with the Sorcerer and Havocs, are going to be able to pretty easily deal with your melee forces. Nice use of the Warp In right there, bringing the Noise Marines, which were reinforcing at base, right back onto the field and finishing off this gen farm. Hobbes trying to even out that tech advantage right now. Big Mathis has spent quite a bit of power actually so far. He got Raveners, he upgraded those, he's upgraded two of his Hormagaunt squads. Oh man, Noise Marines do go down this time. They weren't so successful. Oh my gosh, was that another squad? Was that a squad of Heretics? That was the Noise Marines and the Havocs that just went down in that massive Tyranid swarm. Oh, that big melee came to bear in the Hive Tyrant. Oh man, luckily he's big and slow, otherwise those Heretics would have gone down as well. So that was 2 squads down for Hobbes. Did get a gen farm, so that kind of balances it out a little bit. He's going to get that Havoc right back out here, but any hope he had there for getting the advantage from that Gen Bash kind of went out the window once he lost both the Havocs and his Noise Marines. Kind of underestimated those seemingly innocuous Hormagaunts, but when there's that many of them along with the Hive Tyrant, it's just very difficult to move in. Hive Tyrant also with that improved Synapse, so he's actually given a nice, reasonable health bonus to those melee squads as well. We shall triumph. 270 to 443 right now. Hobbes down by almost 200 victory points. Trying to stick it out though. He will be heading into Tier 2, maybe. Well, no, I guess at this point they're about even up, really. I thought he may have had a slightly better tech advantage, but it took him a while for him to get his own gen farm up, and that gen bash now is only just taking effect. And he doesn't have a 3rd generator up either, considering that there's a 4th over there for Mr. Big Mathis. And you can see the Sorcerer just has he doesn't have a lot of options for kind of trying to take out those big tanky heroes, so the Hive Tyrant's just kind of rolling around wherever he wants. Hormagaunts almost going down there, saved once again by a Burrow Strike. A lot of close calls here this game so far. Hive Tyrant again moving back in as soon as that Havoc unsets up. You can see Big Mathis has just pulled the Hive Tyrant just far enough out that Hobbes would decide to not continue chasing it and then spun it right back around and then figured as soon as that Havoc unset up, he was going to get right in on there. Heretics now falling again, trying to get some worship there so they can get into a better position. And now with 2 squads, the Hormagaunts and the Raveners all moving in. Hive Tyrant making sure that Havoc can't do anything. And now we're going to have, it looks like, a return Gen Bash. Revenge is always fun when it comes to bashing generators. Havoc and Chaos Space Marines gonna do what they can to try to slow that Gen Bash down, but the Hormagaunts are too many, and they're gonna rip those apart before they take too much major damage right here. Doom Bolt's going off, actually doing some pretty reasonable damage. Oh, and they actually pulled off the generator. They would have been able to finish it off if they hadn't pulled away. Maybe the Raveners can move in and finish that thing off. But right now, again, we've got the Siege Worship going down. Heretics now moving into flank on those Raveners, I think. Oh no, they're actually hanging back. The full gen farm does go down. Both players head into Tier 2, and Big Mathis with over a 200-point victory lead at this moment. Actually, almost 250 tickets now, especially with a 2-0 cap coming up, maybe a 3 cap if Hobbes doesn't react in time.
This is not the victory you promised us.
So going into Tier 2, we'll probably almost undoubtedly see a Hugbot Dreadnought coming in for Hobbes Stance. He doesn't have quite what he needs. Oh man, there's the classic Sorcerer play. The Doom Blast into Doom Bolt combo, get that blob suppressed, and then drop a pile of Doom Bolts right into its face. That was an easy retreat right there. Hive Tyrant's still sticking around, man. That's Warp Field has really been keeping him on the field here almost indefinitely, and that's really, I think, that ability to constantly stay on the field and keep capping is what's pushing this victory points so much in the favor of Big Mathis. He's bringing out a Tyrant Guard now. Tyrant Guard is going to be, there's going to be 2 giant tanky things now for Hobbes to deal with, and the Tyrant Guard is just a pain. You normally need at least a couple sources of anti-vehicle to deal with that thing, or at least some power melee or plasma weapons. Turn that Havoc into an autocannon if you wanted to. But we'll see how he plays it once that thing gets onto the field. Let's see, does the Sorcerer have any upgrades? Sorcerer is still sitting naked at the moment. Just a nice vanilla Sorcerer. No particularly big tricks here. I hope we see those Chains of Torment, because that would really put a damper on this big Hormagaunt play right now. Everything's just so melee oriented. If you can just tie everything up, he really barely even has any kind of range. The Raveners are, I think, the only thing that could even break the Chains of Torment. So if the Raveners are not around, those chains are going to get the full value. So here comes the Dreadnought. Chaos Dreadnought is coming out here. Tyrant Guard lumbering onto the field as we speak. Once again, more Doom Bolts into Doom Blast, or vice versa anyways. Those ones didn't quite connect where he wanted it to, but did at least halt that Tyranid advance for the time being. And it actually looks like he might be getting control of the middle of the map for once. Tyranids might be going for a big flank play right now, moving around the center crater on Ashes. Tyrant Guard looking for some trouble along with that Hive Tyrant. A pair of Tyrants moving in on this Chaos placement right now. There aren't any warriors on the field, so this Siege Morphs is going to be pretty effective since there isn't anything at all to detect. But really, there's not much that Tyrant Guard has to be worried about. Let's see. Here comes the upgrade getting them. Oh, he's actually going for the Mark of Sea. I would have expected the Mark of Horn. I feel like the autocannon would be more effective overall. Here comes the Summoning Circle as well. Doom Blasts are starting to go off. Bloodletters now pouring out of that Demon Gate. We've got, oh, here we go. The Khorne Dreadnought already out here, starting to punch away at everything. Everything's getting knocked all around. Doom Blast going off. Seismic Roar, we got a Warrior Call in as well to disrupt that Las Cannon. Heretics are trying to get the heck out of there. They may just barely do it too. Oh my goodness. 8 HP on those retreating Heretics. Hive Tyrant does fall. And one of the other squads of Heretics did as well, I think, along with the Sorcerer. So that was some losses on both sides. Probably a little worse there for Hobbes in the long run. Warriors getting their adrenal glands already as that Hugbot moves in to give some love to everybody. Warriors starting to fall. Tyrant Guard chooses to turn and engage. Hormagaunts now all reinforcing at that brood nest. Another capillary tower goes up, and Hormagaunts actually moving in. That's probably a bit silly. That Dreadnought, I think, does do splash damage, so having those Hormagaunts there just does nothing but really just cause trouble. It's unnecessary bleed, I think, but as it stands, and it's so frustrating fighting against the Khorne Dreadnought when you know it's a Sorcerer, because he can most likely just warp that thing out the second it gets into trouble. So you can't really, oh my gosh, look at all the Hormagaunts going down there. Here comes the Las Cannon as well in the background there, finishes off the Hive Tyrant. It has to instantly retreat because those Hormagaunts were moving in, and again, we're seeing the Hormagaunts all just pile onto this Dreadnought. They are slowly taking its health off. It doesn't have a lot left. If nothing else, it'll force the, it'll force the warp out of there. But even so, that was probably a lot of unnecessary Hormagaunt losses. That was, whew, that was a bit much. But as it stands, Dreadnought got out of there. Only one squad of Heretics though, so that Heretics is going to be relegated to repair duty for quite a bit until that Horn Dread is ready for battle once again. We have, oh there we go, the Robes of Torment finally coming down for that Sorcerer. Triple cap against Big Mathis now. Quickly turning those VPs around, or at least closing the gap for the time being. Now down to about 150 victory point lead and closing fast unless those Hormagons can start grabbing some victory points. There goes the Chains of Torment. Oh, and on top of that, Dark Flames coming down, burning all those Tyranids, making a bunch of crispy Hormagons, cooking them right in their shells. Managed to engage the Raveners as well to keep those Chains of Torment up. But the Sorcerer now has to get out of there. Can't deal with that Hive Tyrant. That's just too much HP for him to deal with. Now level 4, so he's got 1400 HP on top of that energy shield. Havoc's looking for somewhere they can go to cap. Las Cannon now kind of finding itself a bit useless. That's the problem. The autocannon, I feel like, still would have been a useful tool against these Tyranid forces, and despite not having a snare, still does some pretty excellent damage against that Tyrant Guard. But if it comes to Carnifexes later, that Las Cannon will be happy to be around. We've got another Havoc coming onto the field anyways. That one's probably going to stick with some suppression for now. Siege Bolters coming up, those nasty Inferno Bolters for the Chaos Space Marines. And a now slightly healthier Khorne Dread moving in to engage and keep those victory points safe. Suddenly the victory points are within about 70 points of one another, 133 to 207. Still a bit in favor of Big Mathis as Big Mathis heads into Tier 3. Suppression going down on that big pile of melee right there as the Hive Tyrant moves in. Will be able to disrupt that Havoc squad for the time being, but as soon as that suppression wears off, the Hormagons are going to get in there and start ripping things apart, as we've been seeing all game long. Las Cannon way back there, finding itself in a dire situation as it's going to have to retreat through all this melee. Probably will survive. I don't think it'll be in too bad of a situation right now. Hive Tyrant just haranguing everything it can, trying to keep those Siege Marines from getting any shots off, because they do put out some pretty serious DPS, especially now that they're almost level 3. Chaos Sorcerer moving in, probably going to try to get some more chains off here. There they go, getting that entire Tyranid force once again, trying to set up while the Chaos forces advance. The Tyranids just have to stand there and deal with it. As it stands right now, Hobbes has a definite chance of getting back into this game after that really rough opening. It's tough to deal with all that melee, but as I was mentioned earlier, these Hormagons are just going to start getting outmoded here. I think as we get into the later stages of the game, they really can't hang around that Dreadnought at all, and Siege Marines, along with those aspiring champion Heretics, can actually cut through a reasonable pile of melee.
You are losing us a victory point.
So Tyranids now just kind of focusing on the victory point lane down on the west side here. Dreadnoughts moving in once again as the Tyranids are just constantly... They have towers up just about everywhere, so they're able to move through the map very quickly. It looks like this Las Cannon might be in a bit of trouble. Oh, that suppression coming in just the right time. There have been so many close calls like that. Switching now to the more immediate threat of those warriors. Manages to take one out before they get engaged in melee, but now they have to retreat through all the Hormagons once again. A critical knockback there is going to seal the fate of that Havoc squad, no problem. Sorcerer and Heretics force off the Raveners on that victory point. Mathis trying to close this game out, but the victory points are getting closer and closer to in Hobbes' favor. Hobbes just gonna put out another Dreadnought, bringing dreads and dreads. In one-on-one, it's not uncommon to see Chaos to just stick it out in Tier 2. Hobbes did go to Tier 3. I'm not sure what we're gonna see out of that. He might be able to get a nuke onto the field here shortly. He has about 100 points shy of his nuke right now. Big Mathis, however, still at about 150 away, where he should be looking for that option. And now, once again, a triple cap for Hobbes, 140, and deteriorating quickly. Those victory point tickets blast away at 3 per second. when you have that triple cap, which is just so very fast. Another summoning circle coming down. Really wants to get this Hive Tyrant off the field, along with all of these Hormagons coming up here now. Hugbots going off once again. Heretics getting perilously low on HP, though they need to get the heck out of there. Getting reinforced from that summoning circle, but that aspiring champion Heretic still getting focused by an entire pile of Hormagons. If he strays too far, yeah, down goes that squad. There are 3 Dreadnoughts now on the field. One actually went down, I think. Was that a third?
Why am I not king?
Or no, Hobbes was not in Tier 3. I don't know why I thought Hobbes was in Tier 3. He was going into Tier 3 right there. I thought something went down right there. It looked like these Dreads were in a lot of trouble, but apparently not. Got a little confused. I just looked down there. It's possible... I thought I saw a squad go down there. I'm not sure what it was. We'll have to go back to the replay and check that again. But as it stands right now, Big Mathis now at 70 points to 121. Oh no! The Blood Rage Dreadnought! No! Don't kill the las cannon! Oh dear! It's retreating. It's falling back. It goes down. I think the bolters on that Dreadnought, the little forward bolters, actually got buffed recently. I'm not sure why they thought that Dreadnought needed more power, but oh my goodness. I guess just giving it a little option to kite people that are trying to outrun it when it's not in Blood Rage. So now we have 3 Dreadnoughts on the field, 3 big massive Dreadnoughts, 2 Khorne, and the third also going Khorne. Gotta be expecting a Carnifex at this point, as it is getting to the late game. I wouldn't have been surprised to see maybe 2 Khorne Dreadnoughts and a Siege Dreadnought. 2-0 cap against Big Mathis, though. Big Mathis needs to get out here quick. He does have that big, mean Thorn back on the field, though, which can actually contend with this Khorne Dreadnought, I believe. Especially considering this thing's already pretty well damaged. Brood Nest, again, just staying forward on the field, making sure those Hormagons don't have to fall back. We have Venom Broods out here as well. And this is the problem now with having 3 melee Dreadnoughts, is that there are some ranged anti-vehicle options on the field now. 1 Dreadnought goes down. This Carnifex is still pretty healthy as it stands. That other Khorne Dreadnought needs to get in on the Venom Cannons, but the Hormagons and Hive Tyrant keep choking it up. 71 to 71, the VPs are neck and neck right now. Cap going down on the natural over here, looking like it might be a quick 2-0 cap here in just a moment for Hobbes. Once again, Big Mathis needs to get out here, but there's Khorne Dreadnoughts everywhere. Second Khorne Dreadnought looks like it's going down, though. Only 1 Khorne Dread remains. It did manage to take out the Warrior Brood. Those Siege Marines actually managed to hold against those Hormagons. There is a back cap going on here. 71 to 37. Big Mathis getting perilously low on victory points. This might be just about it. Despite taking out those Khorne Dreadnoughts, he really doesn't have much left to get out here. All these Hormagons and such are starting to just lose against all these late game squads. Level 4 Space Marines, nothing to scoff at with those Siege Bolters, getting their aspiring champion back onto the field. Oh man, and taking out that Warrior Brood in the nick of time. Ravener's now moving in. Everything's just doing what it can. Hormagons against Heretics on the bottom VP. Contested VP has Hormagons on it as well. 71 to 5. Big Mathis, if he loses even a single victory point at this time, he's going to throw the game. Hormagons might go down here, but instead it's the Sorcerer. Ravener's still here trying to get a cap down. Instead, they're going to pull away and probably Burrow Strike to safety. Hobson's trying to get himself... Oh no, they turn back to engage. I'm not sure what they're doing. Oh, and there goes the Raveners. 51 to 5, still a 2-0 cap in favor of Big Mathis. Big Mathis now down to just 2 squads of Hormagons. That's all he's got. Hobson down to 2 squads himself. Bringing some more Heretics onto the field. His hero is down, but Big Mathis' hero is up. He needs to purchase back that Sorcerer as soon as he can and get it out onto the field. 34 to 5 right now. Khorne Dreadnought moving in on Hormagons. Hive Tyrant now getting the Crush Claw, gonna turn around and cap. All he needs is 1 cap, and it's gonna be it. 27 to 5. Chaos Space Marines moving in. Heretics now engaged with Hormagons. That might be just enough stall. A 2-0 cap for Hobbes. that could be it. I think that's going to be everything as the victory points tick down. They're going to go neutral for just a moment. Bloodletters now swarming onto the field out of a gate once again, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. 6, 5. Heretics trying to cap, but the Hormagaunts are going to stop it, and the VPs tick down to 0 for Hobbes. Big Mathis narrowly takes the victory. Those last couple minutes were intense. That's what it comes... I mean, this map is just big and spread out, so it comes to a capping war at the end when both sides went so all in on that last engagement right here. The Corn Dreads all went down. The Carnifex went down. Big Mathis got a little panicked at the end there, I think, and threw a few squads away over here. Both the Raveners, the Warriors, and a squad of Hormagaunts as well. Let's see the carapaces of all those dead Tyranids standing right there. Oh my goodness. Well, that was some madness. Triple Hormagaunts from Big Mathis to take the game by the skin of his very sharp and pointy teeth. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to check out that monthly Rumble coverage. Big Mathis there. If you want to see some more Melee play, go check that out. Anyways, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Find me on the social media. Send me your replays. This is Red-Rupee. I'll catch you guys next time.